Altin Sencalar is in high demand across the country as a performer, educator, and composer. He's traveled the world and gained international recognition. Altin will be performing tomorrow night at 7 at Dazzle at 14th and Arapahoe. He'll be backed by local vibraphonist Rocco L.C. Williams and his spectacular new quintet. And Altin is here in the house at KUVO. Altin, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Now, this tune you just played, tell us about it.
Pacing, yeah. So Pacing, that was the first tune of the session for the CD. It's second on the CD, but Mark Free, the producer, is like, okay, first thing I want you to do, let's just burn one.
Yeah.
Let's burn one. And I was like, this is like a method to the madness, but okay. But he was right. I always give it up for people whenever they're right, and Mark Free was absolutely right. But so Pacing is something that I wrote to embody like what I feel is like the '90s of like New York jazz, Crisscross, Sharp Nine Records, stuff like that.
Sure.
A huge influence on me is like Steve Davis. So like. This is kind of like a Steve Davis-esque kind of tune that he might have written, or I hope. He's been a huge source of many trombonist inspirations, but especially me.
Yeah.
And so I try to envision like this tune as like what I think '90s jazz in New York was.
Wow, great playing.
Thank you.
You were right in there on it.
Thank you so much, Paul. Man,
this is from your latest album, Discover the Present. That you hear tracks from this album on here on KUVO. So a little backstory from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, what was it? When did the trombone come into play, or when did music come into play for you?
So music is interesting with my family. So let's just back it all the way up. So some backstory behind the backstory. So I'm part Turkish and Mexican, right?
Okay.
So on my father's side, he's from Ankara, but my dede, or grandfather in Turkish, is he's still alive in Istanbul, and he's actually like a very well-known kanun player in Turkey. So it definitely sources familially. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, I think so.
But
better than I would.
I play trombone for a reason. But so my grandfather's name is Altin Sencalar as well. And so he grew up playing that. He had his own record label. He has like the European equivalent to a Grammy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely in there. My dad played some in I guess grade school, but he didn't really stick with it. But I know he did. He was like a DJ for like a good 25 years, like an actual DJ with like
the 45s and the turntables.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then on my mother's side, so that's the Mexican side from Texas.
Yeah.
So my grandfather wasn't really in it, but all the grandchildren, or all of his children, did it, and all the grandchildren were in some kind of music. So so my mom was in choir, but she didn't really want to do it. My uncle, I think, did some kind of music or fine arts, and then my aunt was a band director for 30 years in Texas. And then my other two uncles were in band as well, but they did not stick with it. But my aunt and her husband, who's another band director in Texas, definitely kept it there, and I kind of gravitated towards that. But unbeknownst to me, my name Altin Sencalar translates. So Altin means gold in Turkish, but Sencalar is a loose translation for like entertainer.
Really?
Yeah. And
so it's in the blood. It's in the genes.
When I thought my dad was just like kind of like gassing me up, like, oh, but no, it's actually very real. It's very real.
Right.
And I didn't believe it for a long time till I was like, oh, no, he is. Yeah, no, like this is for real. And so all that to be said, there's definitely been some kind of, I don't use the word naturalness, but some kind of gravitation towards music with me. And so I joined orchestra in 4th grade. I was terrible.
Well, we were all terrible in the 4th grade.
Yeah, but I mean, it really matters what kind of teacher you have, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But in 6th grade, I joined band, and I started on euphonium or baritone, and they had jazz band tryouts. And I remember I just started like checking out like Maynard Ferguson.
Oh yeah.
But I was checking out Maynard like live at the Playboy Jazz Festival. So like his more like funk pop tunes,
okay,
with like the horn stuff. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that, but there's no baritone, but there's trombone. And so naturally the low brass was in one class, like in 6th grade. So I was like, oh, I want to try for jazz band because there's jazz band tryouts. And so I picked up a trombone and got into jazz band. Cool, you know? And so I went through like grade school until the 11th grade in Temple High School. We had a really serious jazz program. Actually, Temple High School has the oldest jazz program in Texas for high schools.
Oh.
And so we made the finals for the Essentially Ellington competition in New York City. And I was already like mind made up on euphonium, doing stuff like that. I had already gone to Tanglewood, studied with like Mike Roylance, did all those things a classical euphonium player would do. And I'm laughing because, you know, it's just it's a funny thing to think about nowadays. Insert joke here.
Part of your journey.
Yes, insert another joke here for band people. But anyways, I met Elliot Mason at this at Essentially Ellington. He like pulled me aside, gave me like a free like 30-minute lesson, which that would never happen in a classical world ever. Oh my gosh, ever. And so I was like sold. I was like, whoa, like this like Elliot's like 6'4", so I was like, whoa, like I'm like looking up at him like, whoa, he's like giving me advice and like pulling me aside, taking his time, and people were like, no, that's like what we do here, like in jazz music. I was like, oh man, because mentorship is so important to this music.
Yes.
And so that really resonated with me. So then I marched drum corps that summer, and I really figured out I wanted to do jazz. And so from there, I had some catching up to do. I did not get into any schools of music at first, except for one, because I was on the wait list, and I was at Texas State, where I got to study with Freddie Mendoza. And from there, I transferred to UT after he left, studied with Andre Hayward, and then I got accepted to Michigan State, where I was the TA for Michael Dees for 2 years, and it's kind of just kept rolling and rolling and rolling.
Wow, what a story. So a little personal part about you. We were talking about your family. You have your wife here.
Yeah, my wife's here.
And carrying?
Oh, yeah, my wife is carrying our, I think, 3-pound child at the moment.
Wow.
His name is John, after my grandfather. And
that's wonderful.
We're arguing on a middle name right now, so, you know, we'll figure it out.
JJ? No.
She would not have it.
Wow. Okay, so tell us about the show. You're performing tomorrow night. Tell us about what to expect from the show tomorrow night at Dazzle.
So tomorrow night is completely new music. Completely new music. We're featuring tunes that I've written in the last like 3 months, and it's backed with it's really in a collaboration with a good friend of mine that I met at Gen this past January in New Orleans. His name is Rocco L.C. Williams. He lives here, but he's moving because he's getting an MA from Cal Arts. And anyways, he was like, man, we'd love to like get you out here. And I was like, oh man, that'd be great because I've been wanting to come to Denver.
Sure.
And so we got a good friend of mine who's actually played here at Kuvo once, or KUVO. I say Kuvo, but
we say both.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So I'm correct on both accounts. Nice. So it's with Rocco, who's a great vibraphonist, really great composer, but above all, great guy.
Yeah.
And then my really good friend from graduate school at Michigan State, Nathan Borton, on guitar. Wonderful guitarist. He's doing his doctorate work at UC Greeley, I believe. And then 2 local cats, or one of them teaches at Boulder, Alejandro on drums and a cat named Hunter on bass. And we're really excited. We're playing guitar, vibes, trombone, bass, drums. So it's a very unusual configuration. However, the blend was really magical today at rehearsal.
All right, so the show is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
At Dazzle.
At Dazzle. Tickets still available. You can find out all about the show online at kuvo.org. Okay, we're going to play another song from your latest album, Discover the Present. Tell us about this one.
So this is You're My Everything, and this is a classic from Nat King Cole. His orchestration is, I mean, it's unbeatable. You know, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Nat's version is beautiful, but so is Freddie's version in his collaboration with Herbie. And I wanted to be able to take both. Because why not? You can have both. It's 2024. We can do that. So I wanted to try and take the beauty of both with Herbie's harmonic exploration, Freddie's harmonic exploration, as well as the way that he phrases the melody, and then Nat's classic version of his orchestration and how everything sounds. And I wanted to combine that with a bossa because Latin music for me has always come natural because of like what I grew up with. So I grew up in Texas, as I said before. I grew up playing salsa music whenever I was 13, and so I got exposed
Wow.
to the whole. And the trombone in salsa music is like the preliminary instrument. It's the primary
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to do something with this. It's such a beautiful song. We can put a bossa with it. And so I did that, and I wanted to capture the essence of both of those beautiful versions as well as what I had to say. And I really think we came up with something very nice. I was extremely proud and happy with how everybody played. Anthony Hervey, Diego Rivera, Marcus Howell, myself, the horn players, as well as accompanied by a Latin percussionist and great trumpet player, Pete Rodriguez. And, of course, Rudy Royston, Denver Zone.
Wow, big names here.
Yeah. And Raul Reyes, great bass player, and Art Hirohara. I think we really were able to come together and find some more beauty in this well-known standard.
Altin Sencalar, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by, taking the time. Thank your wife.
Oh, yes.
You know, carrying a baby. That's got to be tough to get around in this
Yes.
heat.
Well, luckily, we're flying first class, so I think it's taking a little of the edge off.
All right. And where can we look you up on socials?
I have everything. You can find me on Instagram at Altin101, ALTIN 101. You can find me on Facebook, Altin, ALTIN, then my last name, Senclair, SENCALAR. And then I'm on TikTok, Twitter, but I primarily stay on Instagram and Facebook. And if you really want, you can subscribe to my newsletter. You can go to my website, altinsinclair.com.
And you can check out kuvo.org. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
All right. And good luck, new daddy.
Yes.